sure it doesn't stop, okay? Let me know if it does. Thank you. I think it's maybe... Nope, it's still going. The numbers are going. That's how you know. All right, so go ahead and come on this side. Thank you. So, today we are going to be doing paper molas projects. And that's what this is. It's called a molas. M-O-L-A-S. And the style was developed by women in Panama who would make clothing this way. They'd make like this beautiful clothing that had all these layers in it. And then eventually they ended up, like, tourists loved them so much that they would like cut them up into like sheets and sell them. And that's how they got famous. But we are going to borrow that style and make these. So, to begin this assignment, your first step is going to be, you're going to get called up and you're going to pick out 5 colors from the cabinets over here. When you pick the colors out, be sure leave the stacks nice and neat. You're going to pull one sheet out at a time. If you pull all the other sheets, stack them back in the cabinet. And also, don't play with the cabinet doors, because if you move them, the handles can get caught and rip off. And then, so you need 5 colors and 1 black piece of paper. So that is 6 sheets in total. And that is something that you can add to your notes, right? So Molas project, M-O-L-A-S. Let me get this out real quick. A-S.
I'm so confused.
It's like molas. All right. So go ahead and write down how many sheets of paper you have that you're going to get. 5 colors and
1 black.
1 black. Good job. Go ahead and use mine. So, all right, I've got these staples out now. After you have your 5 colors, you're going to come over to here and you are going to pick out 1 of these animals. So go ahead and write that down. And then once you pick them out, me and Mr. Wolford are going to trace these for you onto your sheets. So with the animals, and this one right here, I picked the angelfish that's right here. And as you can see, I did 3 layers of the angelfish. I'm going to show you how to do those layers, but remember, this is something you could write down in your notes. You need 3 layers of the animal on top. This is called an additive layering technique. So go ahead, you guys see that? How many layers?
3.
3. All right. So you're going to bring up the animal of your choice, and then you're going to take whatever color you want that's going to be the smallest animal here on top. And me and Mr. Wolford are going to trace that for you onto your sheet. So this top layer right here, the purple, that's the color that I chose to be on top. So you're going to choose one of your 5, and then that's going to be one of the 3 that goes on top. So after you have that cut out, here's mine right here. I'm going to glue it onto my second layer. That's my second choice of color right here. So that's the peach color in my angelfish. Does everyone see that?
Aww.
And here on Mr. Wolford's, he did dark green. That's his second color. And to get this, I'm going to take my first cutout. I'm going to glue it into the middle of my second layer. All right, everyone get that? I'm gluing it onto the second layer. And then, can I borrow this? I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to draw around it, just like he did on this one. I'm going to draw around it, leaving an even thickness around the outside of my cutout. So this means, for example, like right here on the wings of my dragonfly, I didn't go all the way into the wings. I am shaping around the outside because I'm keeping that thickness similar all the way across. So after that, I'm going to trace all the way around my animal, and then I'm going to cut out what I traced using an X-Acto blades. Everyone got it? So
Wait. You have to do it.
this is right now we are forming the layers of the animal. So, first layer, me and Mr. Wolford trace out for you. You cut out with an X-Acto blade. Second layer, you trace around your animal with an even thickness. Cut that out. Third layer, can anyone guess?
Cut.
So, these are all components of what you need to do. So, it's the same steps. You take the second cutout, you put it, you glue it to your third. So, technically, the first will be glued on still. Cut it out. You're going to glue it to your third layer. Draw around it like you did on the second one. And then cut it out. Alright? Is anyone confused?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really confused.
Yeah.
What are you confused about?
Everything.
Okay. So, one more time, I'm going to go through the whole thing.
Okay, yeah.
You pick a stencil. Picking one of the top 3 colors for your layerings. You're going to pick your top color. We're going to draw it on that sheet. You're going to cut it out. So you have one of these guys right here. Then you're going to take your cutout. You're going to glue it onto the middle of your second layer. And then you're going to draw around that and then cut it out. You want to see that?
So, because I was gonna, you remember when you said one black and 5 colors?
Mm-hmm.
What if one of your 5 wants to be black? Like,
No, that's not. You can do brown, but you can't do black. There's dark blue too. So, anyway, okay, 5 colors, 1 black sheet. That's the rule. Okay. So after I cut out my second cutout, what's my next step? Logan. Glue it to my third layer and cut it out. I just trace around it and cut it out. So after that's all done, you're gonna have, like, this is Mr. Wolford's. The green is his third layer, so he'd trace around it, cut it out, and then you're gonna have a little animal. And what you're going to do is take your black sheet and glue it to the center of it. Everyone got that? Black sheet, all 3 cutouts glued together. You're gonna glue it in the middle.
How do you get all like the?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Yes.
It's hard to get it. So you just take all the papers and you get the black one after you're done cutting everything. And then you put it on top of all that cut. All the cuts.
The layers. Just like this.
Layers.
Yep. All right. Everyone caught up to this point.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to
didn't
speak up.
Now we do choose.
Okay. So now you are going to take your black sheet and you're going to take the 3 sheets that you cut your animal out of, and those are going to be your first 3 layers. On my angelfish, I decided to go the opposite. Yes. So you have glued down your animal on your black sheet. You're going to take the 3 layers of paper that you cut out of, and those are going to be your first 3 layers underneath. So mine on this one would be red, orange, and yellow. On this one, it was purple, peach, and kind of like a maroon.
Maroon.
All right, so those are your first 3 layers. I stack them. Then I take my last 2 layers. We had 5, right? 5 colors. Take the last 2, those go underneath. So those are the bottom layers of my stack. You see that? I'll show you here. See how, see? That's where I cut out the fish.
Oh wait.
Looks like a book, kinda.
Question?
So it's telling the story of how you made it.
Yeah. You see that? Any questions?
Yes.
Hey guys, pay attention. All right, and make sure you're taking notes. Yes.
Are these, like, what do we do with these? Are these just...
Those are just for Mr. Wolford and me to use. We're gonna trace it onto your paper for you. Okay? All right, so I stack all 5. What layers go on top?
The first 3.
First 3. All right, and then your last 2, that makes 5 colors with your black one on top that has your animal glued to it. Then I'm gonna stack it, make sure it's nice and clean. I'm gonna take a stapler, this guy right here, real quick.
And you just staple the bottom.
No, I'm gonna explain. It's okay. So on the stapler, do you see this little part right here?
Yes.
That where it ends, like there's like this rounded metal part right here. That's where your paper is going to line up. So make sure our staples are really straight and clean. So let me show you really quick. I make sure these are clean and stacked again. And I'm gonna take my stapler. I'm gonna line it up with that area. I push down, but not hard enough to staple it. And then, see how clean that is? Right on the edge. See that? That's what it needs to look like. You need 3 staples. So, I'm gonna go in, go to the other corner, line it up. And when you're stapling, make sure you don't fold, you're not like folding your paper. Because see what happens to the edge when I do that? They become unlined, right? So you don't want your paper to do that. I get my 3rd staple. All right, does everyone see this?
Yeah.
See how that looks? There's all my 5 sheets right there. All right, so supposedly I would have my animal already glued on here, right? But this is just a demo. So next step, in order to get these shapes right here, you are going to be sketching out your top layers. So if I were to take out my black right here, that is what I sketched out around. So I would take my pencil and I'm gonna sketch out 6 shapes. That's what you need. So I would write that number down. 6 shapes.
Just like random shapes. Okay.
And you need a border. I didn't do that on mine, but you need to have an even border all the way across. So like on the bottom of this one, see how it's black all the way across?
Yeah.
That needs to be the case all the way around for your guys'. You guys see that?
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna sketch out all my shapes, 6 shapes, and then, you guys paying attention? Sage, Jacob.
That's your knee, my dude.
So, all right, next step. After I have already traced out all my shapes on my black sheet, I'm gonna pick up my black sheet and put my cutting board between it, making sure it's the only thing on top of the cutting board. You don't wanna cut into your other pieces. Line it up, and then I'm gonna start cutting out what I traced, the shapes that I made, 6 shapes.
How would you know where it is?
The cutting board,
No.
because I drew them on top.
Yeah.
So then I would take my X-Acto blade and go around like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But she
All right.
did.
And the cutting boards are smaller than the papers. So what I would do is line it up over here, cut out what's over here, turn it upside down, move it, cut it out like that. Oops, sorry. Does that make sense? And you're going to continue doing that all the way down. So, for example, my second layer was this peach, or the purple, sorry. So after I cut out my black, I took out my cutting board, and then leaving a consistent thickness around the shapes, I drew like we did with our animals, but this is reductive. This is called reductive layering. So I trace around. Can we guess what we do after I've traced around all of the shapes?
You put this under it and cut it.
Colton's got it. We put the cutting board under the purple this time, so the purple and the black would be under it on top. And then you're gonna cut out what you drew on the purple.
Cut out different shapes.
No, same.
You cut it. So after you cut out all the shapes the first time, you move down a layer and then you cut it again.
But you are tracing every time.
Trace.
And then, so for real quick, we're gonna talk about what happens here. So my bottom layer, the 5th layer, is the purple, right? So on some of my shapes, I didn't get all the way down to it, and that's okay. That's called a force out, which means that I don't have enough room left in those shapes to be able to cut all the way down. So I think we'd probably be able to see at least 1 or 2 of those on your project. But you need 6 shapes. All right, Logan.
Why do you have 8?
Because we were testing out the project,
She's trying
and
to
we
make it
determined you can't do 6 without breaking the border. You can't do 8 without breaking the border, and I think breaking the border is just a little too much. So you're doing 6 with a border. You're not breaking the edge. All right. So first step, use your notes.
Take 5 colors. 5 sheets of colors.
And then one black.
And one black. Good job.
One animal.
Hey, come on, guys. Wait. Second step. Someone raise their hand. Ella. You pick an animal. And who traces it? Me or Mr. Wolford. Third step. Logan. Top 3 layers. So technically there's a couple steps in there. But yes, you're going to cut out what we traced, glue it, draw around it, cut out, glue it, draw around it, right? Cut out. What happens after you cut it all out? What was it? Yeah. So what happens after all of your cutouts are out? What's next? Someone besides Logan. Adam.
You trace around your animal?
Okay, so yes, that is an important step. We've gone through that already. So what happens? I have all of my animal cut out. What's next?
Draw 6 shapes. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's after the step. Colton.
You make it. You get your other layers and make it thicker every time you cut. 1, 2, 3.
Yes,
Make it
we've
bigger every time.
already done this. So, all right, this is a step that everyone seems to be missing. Ella. Ella's got it. Ding, ding, ding. So, I cut out all my animals. The next step before I start drawing on my black sheet or stapling is that I glue all of those down in the center of the black sheet. And I would maybe write that down since almost no one had the answer to that.
Wait, what do you do?
Wait, what?
Logan had it. Okay. You just took very good notes. That's good.
Wait, so what do you do? Oh, can you repeat that again?
Repeat it to me.
Joey.
Why do you think you don't know what I just said?
Because I couldn't hear you.
You couldn't hear me?
I was laughing.
You're standing right in front of
I
me,
was laughing.
Joey.
Yes.
Okay, so you are gonna have to
No,
compare
I mean,
notes.
like, what did you say about the last thing? That's what I was asking. Because I was asking.
All right, so I'm moving on. We can catch up with other people's notes, okay? So, hey guys, we're finishing this up real quick. Golden. We're gonna take the glued animal, black sheet, 5 colors. What's next?
5 colors.
You're gonna cut. Or no, you're gonna glue to the center.
You're gonna
Oh. Ella? Staple it. Ella is on it, guys. Logan is too. All right, so I staple it. What happens after I staple it? Let's do someone new. Anyone over here? Give me a hand. Let me see your notes.
Yeah, right. He's just waiting. He's been just
I
waiting.
know you have the
Wait, I
answer.
know it.
Okay,
You
Jake.
trace your shape. Trace your shape.
You trace your shapes. All right. And then what do you do after you trace your shapes? I need an answer. You got this.
You glue the black on top.
No. Come on, guys.
You cut them out.
You cut them out. That's it. Where does your cutting board go?
Under the black piece of paper.
Under the black piece of paper.
Under that.
With all the colors underneath. All right. So right now, I'm going to go up to the Elmo. And I'm going to write some notes with you guys. And we are going to compare how yours look to mine. And this is going to be reflective. So when you take notes on projects later, you know what they should look like so you can actually use them, right? Me and Mr. Wolford aren't going to give you the instructions again. You're going to need to have them written down.
Basically, I'm just gonna rewrite them.
All right, so go back to your seats. Keep your notebook paper out.